Tonight on The Roast, Labor claims there is a $10 billion hole in the coalition's budget, and Tony Abbott speaks at a school that calls homosexuality an abomination. But first, Mark Humphries is going to start us off with a bang.
Bang! Prime Minister Kevin Rudd answered questions on internet message board Reddit last night and posted this photo of himself seemingly using a computer for the first time. And as you can see, Rudd dressed up in suit and tie for internet randoms compared to how he dressed for speaking to Barack Obama. No need to impress him, he's only the most powerful man on the planet. Rudd answered questions on a series of topics, but when several questions appeared about Australia's involvement with surveillance program PRISM, he skipped over those to answer this.
As an American, I would like to know, what is your favourite thing about Australia?
Uh-oh, I sense a funny answer coming on.
Drop bears, drop wombats. K-Rudd.
I was wrong. So we don't know what the Prime Minister thinks about the most important privacy breach of our generation, but we do know about his soft spot for fictional falling animals. But that wasn't the only waste of time.
As a fellow Australian and Queenslander, I need to know, what is your favourite beer?
You're not a Queenslander if you don't drink 4X. K-Rudd.
I'm assuming that's how that's meant to be read. Otherwise, it's an alarming new citizenship test from a total flirt.
You're not a Queenslander if you don't drink kisses. K-Rudd.
And if you thought stupid questions were restricted to the internet, don't forget Talkback Radio. Kevin Rudd's wife, Therese Rain, appeared on the John Laws radio show yesterday.
A lot of people say, why isn't she Therese Rudd?
Really?
Yeah.
Continuing the fine Talkback tradition of asking questions based on tittle-tattle and chitty-chat, like the recent interview with former Prime Minister Julia Gillard and now former 6PR host Howard Sattler.
He must be gay, he's a hairdresser.
Oh, well, isn't that...
You've heard it. It's not me saying it.
Who are these people? Must be the people who call into Talkback Radio. Hello, John Laws, long-time listener, first-time caller. Yes, I've got a question for the woman married to the most powerful man in the country. What's his plan of action for the crisis in Syria? Oh, I forgot, this is Talkback Radio. Does he prefer boxers or briefs? Education Minister Bill Shorten and Opposition Education spokesman Christopher Pyne appeared on 7:30 last night looking like two naughty boys called into the principal's office. Bill Shorten ripped into the coalition's backflipping on the Better Schools plan.
Well, when we talk about form, on August the 1st this year, Christopher Pyne was calling our Better Schools plan a Konski, a play on the name Gonski, who the chap who helped do the report for us.
She knows, Bill. She's the news.
He was calling it a Konski on a Thursday. On the Friday, in what could only be a Damascene, I appreciate the Adelaide correction.
Now we know who's better suited to be Education Minister, the guy with an education. And finally, betting website Sportsbet say they're so confident of a coalition victory at the election, they've already paid out about $1.5 million before the votes have been cast. Paying out before the result is known? Geez, imagine if all gambling was like that. Place your bets. Heads wins. In response to Sportsbet's decision, Prime Minister Kevin Rudd said in the 150-year history of the Melbourne Cup,
the favourite has won 35 times. So have a think about that.
Okay, I've thought about it. The election isn't a race. It's not enough to perform well on the day. And another thing, you're not a horse. For The Roast, I'm Mark Humphries.
Heads every time. Turning to our next story, and last night Kevin Rudd issued a scathing attack on the coalition's proposed budget cuts, pointing out a number of perceived shortcomings, the most notable of which was...
There is an error of $10 billion in the claimed $30 billion of savings the opposition released yesterday.
And you don't just make up a number like that, so where did it come from?
This is based on advice from the Departments of Treasury and Finance and the Parliamentary Budget Office.
Solid, because you know you can trust both the Departments of Treasury and Finance. Except, well, according to both the Departments of Treasury and Finance...
At no stage prior to the caretaker period has either department costed opposition policies.
Now, naturally, the coalition is lapping it up, with Shadow Treasurer Joe Hockey saying it shows the level of desperation of this government to get re-elected at the expense of the credibility of others. And who better equipped to give lessons in credibility than a Nickelback fan? But on the topic of the coalition's costings, Tony Abbott announced in a press conference this morning that their figures would be released towards the end of next week. You know, but whatever's easiest, say Friday, Saturday, maybe Sunday when the election's over and it doesn't matter anymore. And while the Treasury's statement wasn't great for Rudd's campaign, the signs were already there last night that Labor just wasn't going to have a great time.
Mr Abbott has equally made clear his priorities, which are for...
Wouldn't have happened under Howard. For more, Nick Richardson joins us now from... I'm going to say a damp sex cave. Nick, where the hell are you?
I am in the deepest recesses of the Treasury, Tom. My God, the all-consuming power of this building is terrifying. I mean, these are the guys who control all the country's money, and Labor just invoked their wrath.
Yeah, well, now Labor's saying that the coalition's refusal to release their costings confirms they have hidden cuts to come.
Yeah, the Labour Party really need to stop saying they know things for sure when they don't. Sure, there may be cuts, but what if there was another reason the coalition wanted it to be kept secret? What if they wanted to surprise us come next Sunday?
We kept this from you, even though knowing its contents might have been helpful to voters in making a more informed decision. But now I hope you'll understand why we saved the surprise. Be witness to our precise, well-budgeted policies. Behold, its perfectly balanced glory.
It could happen.
And how are the folks at Treasury reacting?
Yeah, well, they weren't happy about last night, so they made their presence known.
Wait, we didn't say that. He is besmirching our name.
Australians.
I will make you silent.
Mr. Abbott has equally made clear his priorities.
Ooh, so what happens now?
Well, Labor made a huge mistake, but obviously the Treasury have a job to do. So as long as Labor can promise they will stop speaking for the Treasury, and the Liberals promise to start speaking to the Treasury, then we should be able to move past this.
Okay, so they really will be able to get along.
Yep. Well, until either party is elected and sat down here to be explained the difference between an election promise and an economic reality.
So I fed all the numbers into the machine, and I can get Australia to run for you for $850 billion.
That's pretty nice, but how awesome would a $1 trillion Australia be?
Well, that would be lovely, but as I said, I can only get Australia to run for $850 billion.
I've already promised my voters a super fast internet.
Well, that would be lovely, but that can only happen if we cut other services like hospitals and other public services.
Oh, God. But I've promised a huge paid parental leave scheme.
Well, you can't... Okay, look. We'll go through this one more time. Let's say these coloured sweeties are all the money that Australia has.
Yeah, let's put some more in there.
No, politicians should never touch the sweeties.
Jeez, guys, budget yourself a calculator. Finally tonight, Tony Abbott launched his education policy yesterday at the Penrith Christian School, where he faced some pretty tough questions from the floor. And I mean, literally from the floor.
When you're in preschool, what was your most favourite thing to do?
Preschool? Well, this is probably, might strike some of you as a bit silly, but I really liked finger painting when I was in preschool.
Yep, we've all seen those paintings. But unfortunately, the 6-year-old journalist in the room failed miserably to expose the bigger issue at play.
The substance of the policy was quickly overshadowed by this statement on the school's website. We believe that homosexuality and specific acts of homosexuality are an abomination unto God, a perversion of the natural order.
Now, of course, homosexuality in schools is a very sensitive topic at the moment. In New South Wales, independent MP for Sydney, Alex Greenwich, recently criticised provisions of the New South Wales Anti-Discrimination Act because private schools are exempt and can actually expel students because they're gay, which doesn't really seem fair.
I got expelled because I threw a chair at the teacher.
I got expelled because I shivved someone.
I got expelled because I had a crush on the girl who threw a chair at the teacher.
Now, Penrith Christian School's extreme position on homosexuality was found in its statement of faith, which all parents are required to sign before their kids can attend. It's like a permission slip for a school excursion, except that instead of food allergies and intolerance to dairy, it covers the Lord's Supper and intolerance to gay people. And somehow, Tony Abbott's team missed that little detail in their planning of the event, which would have made for quite the revelation during yesterday's launch.
Yeah, we're here now. Tony's about to go on. No, it's perfect. There's Father's Day posters all over the walls. There's a newsletter for something called Chocktoberfest. They've even got a statement of faith. Couldn't be more perfect.
Ow.
Janet, can I give you a call back?
Yes, I think it's broken. I can see the bone.
Someone's not praying hard enough.
God, that's not great.
Kids, read our statement of faith. Homosexuality is a perversion of the natural order and an abomination.
Oh God, what's in that statement of faith? The wicked will be punished in a lake which burns with fire and brimstone.
Please welcome
Opposition
Leader Tony Abbott.
In response to the revelation, Tony Abbott said,
Obviously, I don't agree with that statement. Obviously, I don't agree with that statement.
It's so obvious he said it twice. But when asked whether the school would review its position, the principal was pretty clear.
We're not considering reviewing our statement of faith at the moment.
Let's go back to the office.
The principal was quickly ushered away from the media.
Yeah, get him out of there. Because just hours later, the CEO of Christian Schools Australia announced they would review the policy, explaining the language used in that statement comes from an older translation of the Bible. It's not in step with modern language. See, it was all just a misunderstanding based test on an interpretation of that book that fundamental Christians insist we cannot reinterpret. But I really doubt that updating to modern language will suddenly transform Penrith Christian School into an idyllic place for gay kids to get an education. Plus, Tony Abbott didn't say they should change their Stone Age values, he just wanted to distance himself from them. So really, it doesn't seem like anyone will be able to fix this mess. Well, unless someone really powerful could do it.
Not my area of expertise, I'm afraid. Not unless that terrible school said something awful about the Treasury. Then I suppose I could turn it into some sort of government-sponsored gay night bar. Oh, dear God. Oh, the church heard me. I don't want to mess with that kind of power.
Worth a shot. Good night.